2 weeks ago today, I got my Laguna Resaw King blade. And yesterday, I got an email from Laguna. They saw my video. Now, they think that the reason I'm getting this, as they call, washboard effect, is because the blade is slightly drifting one way or the other. So he's given me instructions here how to set the blade for bandsaw drift. And I'm going to give it an honest try here. I really do want this blade to work. He says here he wants me to cut a piece about 1 by 4 by 6 inches. That shouldn't be a problem. I was going to make a birdhouse out of this piece of cedar, but I guess I can sacrifice and we'll have one less birdhouse this summer. Sorry about the noise. You know, I couldn't help but notice that the edge of this board is pretty rough. And I was afraid that it might catch on the fence on the bandsaw and just sort of spoil the test. So I'm just going to smooth it up here. Okay, this is my opinion. For a bandsaw this big, this fence is really flimsy. So I'm just going to block it here so that it doesn't move. I want the test to be as honest as possible here. Now I can see here where they say they want it 4 inches wide and 6 inches long, but I think if it's a little bigger, it's not going to make much difference. In fact, it's probably going to even be more stable. Okay, now what they want me to do is to cut into the wood until the back of the blade is about 1 inch in. That's about 1 inch. Okay, right now my fence is parallel to the table. And what I'm supposed to do is, like I said, run the board through and stop when the back of the blade gets here. And then shut off the saw and don't move anything. Okay, now what I'm supposed to do is check to see which side the back of the blade is rubbing on. Thousandths of an inch. And the blade is touching more on this side than it is on this side. But it's not touching very hard. I don't have to force this down, but there is obviously a lot more room on this side. Now I just want to cycle the blade through here, see if it changes. Just doing it by hand. And it looks like the blade is constantly more on this side than this side. So we'll adjust the fence there, see if it makes any difference. Well, it sure doesn't take very much to bring the back of the blade off of this side. Just a smidgen here. Now we'll see what happens here. You can see that there's just a slight difference. But we'll adjust the blade that way and see what happens. Hopefully this will work. I'm making this video as I go along. I hate those phony reenactments. Well, clearly there's a lot more space right now on this side. It seems to be pretty well centered. Once again, I'm going to cycle the blade through and just sort of see. Well, we'll give that a try. Just run it through the rest of the way. See what we've got.
Now I know that if I was to magnify a piece of smooth window glass enough, even it will look rough. And this is just a piece of cedar. It's very fibrous, but I can still see the tooth marks from the blade.
Okay. Clearly I'm doing something wrong here.
Now I've been thinking, I've been using just cedar and spruce for my tests here. I think I should try something hard like oak. So I'm going to just take a piece of scrap oak here, and what I'm doing is I'm just checking to make sure there's no broken off nails in these holes. If there is, I'd feel them.
Now here I've run this blade part way into the piece of oak, and I've left the fence adjusted the same way as it was before. And now it appears that the fence has to go back the other way. So I don't know. I'm going to just run this all the rest of the way through and see what we got here. Well, I got to admit that because that kerf is so narrow, it takes off very little wood. It does a wonderful job for book matching. However, it's not ultra smooth.
I just want to take off another thin slice here, see if maybe I can push it through just a little bit more smoothly, although I think I was doing a pretty good job before.
Now, I haven't tried this before, and I don't want to make it look like I'm trying to make fun of Laguna's commercials, but let's try something.
Okay, now I want to be honest here. That little paintbrush, I had just pulled it out of the garbage. It was as hard as a rock, well, almost, and makes it sound a lot worse than it really is. The wood wasn't that rough.
Wow, look at that grain pop. Hey, I can do that too.
Okay, I guess it does sound like I'm making fun of the commercial. However, today I was re-watching those commercials, and I noticed something, and I want to show it to you. Forget about that interesting commercial there, and keep your eye on the lower right-hand side, and watch what happens when I try to adjust the quality. I'm sure you noticed you can't watch it in high definition. You can't even watch it in regular definition. It's just in low definition. You can't see any definition.
Wow.
And unless I missed it somehow, you never get to see that wonderful cutting quality close up, even in poor definition. So I just took the guy's word for it.
Look at that grain just pop.
Okay, I've belabored this to death, I know it. And I think that it is possible, that it is impossible for a bandsaw blade to be remarkably smooth or ultra smooth, as Laguna suggested. However, this Resaw King is a lot better than the blade I took off. It is smoother, but it's not that smooth. It's not as smooth as they led me to believe. And I guess I'm upset, not at Laguna, I'm mad at myself for falling for it.